Richard III, a kingdom that learned to be silent. A true medieval bedtime story. If these quiet kingdom stories help you relax, consider liking this video and subscribing so you don't miss future bedtime stories. Now, just listen. Stay here. Do not move yet. The city is still asleep. London breathes slowly, as if it is afraid to wake itself. Fog presses gently against the windows, not knocking, just resting there. The night is cold, but not sharp. It is the kind of cold that settles, that stays long enough to become unfamiliar. The streets are narrow. Stone holds the chill from days before, from weeks before. Water from yesterday's rain has frozen in shallow lines along the road. Not enough to sparkle, enough to bite. A single torch burns near a doorway. Its flame bends slightly in the wind, then steadies again. Somewhere far away, wood cracks in a fire. A soft sound, comforting. Someone turns in their sleep. Fabric shifts. A quiet sigh escapes. The city listens to itself. Inside small houses, people sleep close. Bodies share warmth. Cloaks are pulled tight. Wool scratches against skin, but it's better than the cold. Boots dry near dying embers. Leather smells faintly of smoke. No one dreams loudly. Winter teaches restraint. The Tower of London does not sleep. It never has. Its walls are thick, older than memory. Cold settles deep inside them. Torches line the corridors, each flame guarded by stone. Light moves slowly here. Guards walk measured paths. Every step practiced, every sound controlled. Metal shifts softly with the movement. Breath fogs the air. No one rushes. The tower does not forgive haste. Richard walks alone, not hurried, not uncertain. His cloak moves gently as he walks. Heavy fabric brushing stone. He feels the cold in his back, in his legs, in the curve of his spine. Pain is familiar. It has thought and patience. He stops near a narrow window. Outside, fog presses against the glass, turning the city into a blur. He watches without expression. Richard has always been good at waiting. While others spoke, he listened. While others celebrated, he counted. He learned the weight of silence early. Silence keeps secrets. Silence survives. Edward IV is dead. The bells rang slowly, not urgently, not joyfully. Black cloth hangs in windows. People nod to one another in the streets, acknowledging loss without words. Their air is young, too young. Children belong in beds, not on thrones. This is understood, even if never said aloud. The princes enter the tower quietly. Their cloaks are clean, their boots new. They are told they are safe. Protection, that word again. At first, they are seen, walking near windows, playing softly. Then only sometimes, then not at all. The tower absorbs them. The city notices. But the city has learned silence. People speak less. In taverns, voices lower. Names are avoided. Eyes shift toward doors when footsteps approach. No one asks questions directly. Questions are dangerous. Silence feels safer. The crown changes hands, not violently, not loudly. It is placed, it settles. Banners are raised. The streets remain calm. People continue living. Fear does not always disrupt life. Sometimes it simply rearranges it. Richard does not sleep easily. At night, he listens to the fire, to the wind, to the quiet pulse of the tower. He knows what people think. He knows what they do not say. Power isolates. It always has. The crown is heavier than it appears. It presses not only on the head, but on thought. Richard carries it carefully. He trusts few. He trusts silence most of all. London adapts. It always does. People wake, work, eat. Life continues. Fear becomes background. Like cold, like fog, like winter itself. Stay in this city, in this cold, in this quiet. Nothing ends quickly. The story does not rush. Richard's reign will not be loud. It will be remembered in whispers. Breathe slowly. The night is still holding. The tower is still awake. And the kingdom has learned how to be silent. Morning comes slowly, not with light, but with sound. A distant door opening, wood against wood, footsteps in the street, careful ones. London wakes the way a cautious animal does, testing the air before moving fully. Inside homes, people rise quietly. No sudden movements, no loud voices. Winter mornings do not forgive carelessness. Hands reach for cloaks before anything else. Wool is stiff with cold, rough against skin. People pull layers close, tightening belts, wrapping scarves higher than usual. The fire is checked first. If embers still glow, there is relief. A small sound escapes. A breath let out without thinking. Wood is added slowly. No one wastes fuel. The crackle of fire fills the room, and for a moment, everything feels manageable. Breakfast is simple: bread, leftover stew. People eat close to their hearth. They do not speak much. Words feel unnecessary in winter, and lately, dangerous. A child asks a question. A parent answers softly, quickly. Some questions are not for mornings. The streets fill gradually. Not crowded, never crowded. Merchants open stalls with numb fingers. Canvas flaps move in the wind. Metal tools clink softly. A man coughs into his sleeve. Another nods without smiling. Conversation stays shallow. Weather, prices, nothing else. Names are avoided. Inside taverns, fires burn low. People gather but sit apart. 10 cards are held close to the chest for warmth. Someone starts a sentence, then stops. The silence stretches. No one pushes it. Everyone understands. Fear has its own language, and it speaks quietly. Above it all, the tower watches. It always has. From its windows, the city looks small, contained. Richard stands near stone. He hears the distant city sounds, muted, filtered through fog and wall. He imagines the conversations, the pauses, the way people lower their voices. He does not need to see it to know. Richard's thoughts move slowly, not because they are confused, but because they are heavy. Every decision lingers. He thinks of the crown, how it presses, how it isolates. He thinks of loyalty, how fragile it is, how easily it shifts. Trust feels like warmth, comfortable, but dangerous. The rooms around him are large, too large. Firelight does not reach the corners. Shadows stay there, unmoving. Servants come and go quietly. They avoid his eyes. Respect or fear, it no longer matters. Both create distance. Night falls again. It always does. The city grows still. Torches flare briefly, then settle. Fog returns, thicker now. It wraps the streets in softness, hiding edges, hiding intentions. Inside the tower, corridors echo with measured steps. Guards pass each other without words. They know better. Richard sits alone. Fire crackles. Wood shifts, settles. He listens to the rhythm. Fire, wind, stone. He wonders what history will say. Not loudly. History never shouts. In the city, people sleep lightly. Dreams are thin. Hands stay close to the blankets. Someone wakes suddenly, heart racing, then settles again. Fear does not need reason. It only needs presence. Richard remains awake. Sleep comes rarely. His body rests, but his mind does not. He carries the kingdom alone now, and alone is how power feels at its highest point. Stay in this quiet, in the city that breathes carefully, in this king who listens more than he speaks. Nothing will explode. Nothing will resolve quickly. This is how it was. This is how it felt. The tower stands, the city waits, the crown remains heavy. Silence. Silence does the work. For a long time, people did not speak of the prince. Not openly. But the silence does not raise questions. It sharpens them. At first, the boys were said to be resting, then protected, then simply unseen. Weeks passed, windows stayed dark, and slowly the city understood. Nothing was announced, nothing was confirmed. But London learned the truth the way it learns everything, through absence. Richard heard the whispers. He always did. They did not reach him loudly, but they arrived all the same, in lowered voices, in unfinished sentences, in the way people stopped smiling. He denied nothing publicly. Denial gives rumors shape. Instead, he ruled. He signed orders. He held court. He wore the crown. But something had shifted. The fear that once protected him had begun to turn. Loyalty became thinner. Men who once bowed easily now hesitated. Messages arrived slower. Support felt conditional. Richard noticed everything. He knew a crown cannot survive on silence alone. It needs belief, and belief was leaving him. Far from London, a name began to travel quietly. Henry Tudor. A claim once dismissed, now spoken loud. Not everywhere, not boldly, but enough. Richard prepared, not with confidence, with urgency. He gathered forces. He moved north. The tower watched him leave. It would not see him return. The night before the battle was cold. Not unusually so, just enough to feel familiar. Richard did not sleep. He sat alone, listening to the wind pull at the edges of the camp. Fires burned low. Men spoke softly. Some prayed. Some stared into nothing. Richard remained awake, not afraid, focused. He knew this moment. Every quiet decision, every silence had led here. The battle did not last long. It was chaotic, confused, but its ending was clear. Richard fought, not as a symbol, as a man. And there, on the field of Bosworth, the silence ended. Richard III died in a battle, the last English king to do so. His crown was taken from the ground and placed on another head. England moved on, as it always does. Richard's body was buried quietly, without ceremony. Centuries later, it will be found beneath a parking lot. History has a sense of irony. Richard III ruled through silence. He believed control did there. But silence cannot rule forever. It can only delay the sound of change. Now, his story rests, and so can you. Good night.